So it's like over, right? It's like it's completely Halover. We can all agree that, right? On when did this get announced? I have a more recent article. Halo PS5. When did that get announced? 2 weeks ago. So 2 weeks ago, on October 24th, there was a PlayStation. Wait, what was in? What was this? It was like some kind of event, and they announced Halo Campaign Evolved, yet another remake of Halo 1. We're gonna remember Halo 1. We're gonna get it right this time, guys. You like Halo 1? Remember Halo 1? Remember when you were 15 playing Halo 1? You're like an old man now. You can play Halo 1 again. It's Campaign Evolved. I'm split on whether that's a great title or a really stupid title. But the biggest part of this was like, okay, who the fuck cares? Halo 1 is getting remade again. The biggest thing is that it's launching on the Xbox, probably PC, and PS5. And, okay, so when we go to like the history books, this is the moment that we're going to definitively say Xbox as a brand is over. Like it's over. It's. I'm not being hyperbolic. I'm not being salty or anything. Genuinely, like, you have to understand, if this isn't clear to you, Master Chief is Xbox's brand. He's their mascot. And that carries a lot of weight, okay? The brand is the last thing that they let go of. Warner Brothers right now is like dead in a fucking ditch, and you would have to fucking like do an armed terrorist takeover of their headquarters to let them give Bugs Bunny, like, let Bugs Bunny walk around at Disneyland. It's the last thing that they let go of, because that's like cultural power. That's like the essence of soft power. So the fact that Master Chief is going to be on a PlayStation is like, they don't care anymore. The Xbox division is done competing in the console business. They might have consoles in the future, but it's going to be like a little fun thing. The same way that, like, I don't know. I can't even think of like a similar product. It's like a side project. Like, oh yeah, you can also get like a mini gaming PC as an Xbox, or like it's called an Xbox or something like that. But as a console with a distinct identity that's trying to win or compete, it's over. It's completely over. Some projects will come out. There might be a next series Xbox, but this is genuinely like that. It's the last gasps. They just got to get projects out that have been in development for the last few years. They're basically, if anything, just a services company at this point, and their service, Game Pass, is not doing too well. Yeah, it turns out that the business model, I feel like a year or 2 years ago, I was like, yeah, man, that's a pretty good deal. I wonder if one day they're just gonna totally fuck it up. Or like it's gonna get way worse. Like, enjoy it while it lasts. Yeah, turns out that the too good to be true thing was totally too good to be true. It was way too good to be true. Game Pass is an unsustainable business model. It was great as a loss leader, but it just cannot churn out the profits that they required. Xbox as a brand, again, to reiterate, Xbox as a brand, as a division at Microsoft, has never been profitable once. They've never been profitable for a single quarter of a single year, ever. They have always been a loss leader because it's nice to have a console business, and it was cheap. Honestly, that's the other thing, is that it was cheap. Very cheap to maintain. I find the situation real interesting because there was a post on let's see, where was it? Oh, it's like recent. It was like from the last few days or something. I saw it on r/gaming, or sorry, games, not gaming. Don't go to gaming. Let me just look up Valve Monopoly. 72% of, let's see, 72% of game devs see Steam as a monopoly. Now, I find this to be a really interesting statement and feedback as to like how people perceive things, because I think that there's a very close comparison to be made here. Steam as a storefront has never they've never acted aggressively towards any other members of the business. Like, they've never fucked with GOG. They've never fucked with Epic. GOG nor Steam has ever tried to make an exclusivity deal with anything that wasn't obviously Valve games are going to only be on Steam. Fine, you got to give them that. TF2 is only on Steam. But they've never tried to buy anyone out. They've never done any shady, underhanded practices. They've never done any shit like that. They've just been the best one. They've just been Luigi wins by doing absolutely nothing. That's not true. Valve actually does invest a decent amount of their revenue into new features and stuff for Steam. Everyone gives Valve shit about this and that, and they definitely do deserve shit, and they are a company that is first and foremost concerned with making money. But with that being true, they're also fairly consumer friendly. They don't really fuck people over. Okay, So when they introduced the refund policy, that was because that had to be enforced in Australia. And okay, there had to be an issue, or was there a lawsuit? I don't remember what it was. Or Australia passed a law or something like that. And it was okay, well, it would be a huge pain in the ass and look really bad if Australia was the only, Australian Steam users were the only one who got the refund policy. So it's just a global policy now. And you're okay, yeah, that's the reasoning. But they still did it. They've never tried to undermine that shit. And GOG is around. They're a viable platform. I check out GOG. I play games on GOG. I don't use Epic. Steam has the majority of the market share because they're just they got the first mover advantage. They have a good service. They got a lot of games. It's good for what you get. It's just I don't know. I don't know what else I would be telling people to use besides GOG, because GOG's also got cool stuff. Their library is I guess GOG's library appeals a little more to me, or it has a specific, oh yeah, it is cool that they have regular sales on old retro games and stuff like that. And the DRM free thing, and that there's decent reasons to choose one or the other. And honestly, you could just use both. There's nothing stopping you from doing that. PlayStation is the same thing. There is this whole competition in the market produces the best result. And it's sometimes, no, that's actually not true. In a lot of cases, sometimes, yeah, I guess. But if you look at the console industry, it's actually a really interesting case of competition, setting itself to zero. Competition nullifying itself. Sony there was a couple years where the big three we have today were all competing with each other. Sony, Microsoft, and Nintendo. And then at some point, Nintendo really, they had two bad consoles in a row with the N64 and the GameCube. Bad in terms of sales, I mean. And they decided to pivot entirely to a different type of market with the Wii. And they were basically out. They said, fuck, we're just going to do our own thing. And they had the cultural cachet, the cultural capital to do that. Because they have Mario, and they have Zelda, and they have Pokemon. And you're never going to get... And there's people who will buy a whole console just to play those games. And as long as they just, you know, shape things up of how they're doing this and that, maybe make the technology a little... Honestly, the Wii was a really weak console for its day. It just had a good gimmick. It had a gimmick that appealed to a lot of people. Also, the DS was very successful. And Nintendo basically bowed out of, like, yeah, they are in the console business, but they don't really make an effort to compete. They technically compete just by being there, but they don't really, like... They aren't like, how can we beat PlayStation this year? Like, they don't really do that. In fact, there's an old interview with Reggie back when he was still president of Nintendo of America, where he basically says as much. He says PlayStation and Xbox can go fight over, I think he says they can go fight over in their red ocean, but Nintendo's going to do our own thing. And like, yeah, that just kind of works for them. So now the market actually gets like a little tighter, and there's really only two guys competing. Xbox and PlayStation. And, you know, for that one generation, that was a real decision. Like, damn, the 360s, it's, like, cheaper. It's got so many great games. It's got a lot of great exclusives. Oh, it's got the online. It's got free Xbox Live. But then put down PlayStation 3. It's been a few years. You know, the price is dropping. They're getting some cool games. Wow, those games look really good. That's a powerful console. And there were reasons to buy one or the other, right? Oh, PlayStation. Oh, they got like the Japanese exclusives. They're going to get a lot of the fighting games. And then the Xbox One came out and Microsoft just fucking killed itself. It's like, and sometimes that happens. The problem with everything collating and congealing in a market is that sometimes one member of the market just fucking kills themselves for no reason. Because they were bored. They just snapped their neck. You're like, why did you do that, Don Matrick? And he's like, fuck, man, I'm bored. And they have never lost the lead. Sony just made, they barely competed the entire PS4 generation. They were fairly aggressive about getting exclusives and pushing their lead. But they weren't like... It was real. They had a big head start, man. A lot of people moved from Xbox to PlayStation. Dude, oh my God. You know what saved me that gen? Because this was before I could... for the longest time, I was a console gamer. My PC at home when I was a kid really wasn't strong enough to handle a lot of games. And a lot of times games were just buggy, and PC gaming was a pain in the ass for a really long time. So I was a console gamer. My first console was a Wii. I think we got that in like 2009 or something like that, 2010. And then a few years later, my brother was like, I want an Xbox. And we went to GameStop, and on, I don't know, his birthday or something, I don't know when. And we bought an Xbox 360, and it came. We got home, and this was still when the online services for both of them, for Xbox and PlayStation, were still free. But that was the standard, and then Microsoft was like, nah, you gotta pay for Xbox Live. And we got home, and like what he really wanted to do was play like an one of his NBA 2K whatever games online. And we got home, and it was like, oh, it's an extra subscription. And we were on a bit of a budget. I mean, growing up, we didn't have the most money. And that was like kind of crushing. And it was like, fuck, like my mom really does not want to pay that extra subscription for the game. So we went back and we returned it and exchanged it for a PS3. At which time the PlayStation, PSN was still free. And that saved us. that totally saved our asses. Because when the next gen hit, the logical next step was to go to a PS4, and we never had any problem. I'm imagining a world where we had to go we felt some kind of like brand where my brother was like, no, we got to stick with Xbox. And then we had to deal with the Xbox One's weak library as opposed to the PS4, which had fucking everything on it. So PlayStation's in like a weird situation where like they really have no more foes to conquer. This is, I think, why they've been expanding into the PC market. I think I've talked about this before. Like, does PlayStation have a monopoly on the console market? Actually, like, no, way less than you could argue Steam does. Which I don't think Steam really has a monopoly. It just has a massive market share. If Steam tried to buy GOG, that would be a different story. But they've never tried to do anything like that. PlayStation has, like, they have reached market saturation. They've reached anyone who is going to buy a PlayStation 4, and most people who would have bought a PlayStation 5 already have them. And at this point, like, who else did they sell to? I guess we just sell more games? Alright, well, what are our biggest sellers? It's all of our big AAA, everything from like a Naughty Dog or Santa Monica or all those. Well, I mean, the reason they sell so well is because a large percentage of people who own the consoles bought those games. Like, they buy the console. Like, those are your system sellers. Well, okay, well, how do we sell more copies? Let's just put it on a new platform. We don't want to put it on Xbox because fuck them. And honestly, they with full certainty in my heart, PlayStation expands to more people on PC than they would on Xbox. I think that's obvious at this point. And I don't know, this is probably successful for them. It's a decent business model. It's relatively consumer friendly to put stuff on more platforms. Personally, I'm a patient guy. I'm a #patient gamer. So I think that if it was me in the market for them, I wouldn't care that much that it's like there's like a 1 year lag. You know, it's like a 1 year exclusive to PlayStation before it goes on Steam or something. I think most people are okay with that. Honestly, that might actually be better in some cases, because by the time you get the game, it's got like all the patches and bug fixes, and maybe even comes with DLC and shit. Oh, that would be so tight. That would be so tight if they did that. just include like the deluxe or the Game of the Year edition, whatever they call it, with all the extras and bonus doodads in the PC release. That would be cool. That would be cool. Oh, release them alongside each other. So the same time so the console and PC both get Game of the Year edition or whatever they call it, Ultimate Edition, with all the pack-ins included. So then the first PC owners just get it, and then if you own the original on console, then you just do a little upgrade. You just buy it. The DLC for maybe a reduced cost. I don't know. Anyway, what was I talking about? Oh yeah. So this is like a weird situation. This is a weird situation, and I can only imagine that this is like kind of bad, because competition does kind of keeps companies in check. Like, they do have to, unless they're literally in a monopoly or a trust where they're all conspiring together, like, you know, like ISPs to just divide the country into different territories, like feudal kingdoms. where they can screw over the people in their region more than the other ones. Unless they're doing that, they could just kind of like being in competition does force you to be a little bit consumer friendly. But when you have none, you can just do whatever. And it's funny because competition is what is the environment that caused this to happen in the first place. So I think that this is probably like a bad thing in the long term. Like, I can only see someone at the PlayStation C-suite being like, oh, well, fuck it. Well, now we just... Because the problem with infinite growth is that it's actually not real, and you can't grow infinitely. So once you've won every single person over, what do you just have to mine them for more and more and more money. And that's no good. The degeneration the degeneration of the market of capital. That's literally just like what late stage capitalism is. So Halo Campaign Evolved coming to PS5 I think marks the beginning of a dark era for the console industry. Where things will there's going to be some kind of, I imagine, some kind of crash in like 10 years, 15 years, something like that. That's my prediction. Bookmark this, and then 15 years in the future, let me know. 10 to 15 years, that's what I'm calling it. There'll be some kind of console crash because they got bored and had to kill themselves for no reason.